to be honest, don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life. Monk, really, I know he's manager. What kind of say is
Gary Monk, 5 out of 10.
I haven't finished yet. I cannot believe Gabby Abonahor's.
That's crazy,
That's
isn't
terrible. Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot. Hello, welcome to the TVV Podcast, episode number 11 with Thomas Julian and me, Dan Bardell. Tom's got to be careful this week because apparently his wife has been having a go at his laugh. Well, I'm going to try not to be too funny this week and make you laugh.
Good luck to you. It's not so much I have to be careful. There's nothing I can do. But she, as a surprise to me, she started listening to the show. Not subscribing or leaving us a review.
Doing anything helpful.
Which is slightly annoying. But she was just like, oh yeah, I really like the banter, all that kind of stuff. But your laugh, it's so weird.
I mean, I've clocked it a few times. It's not something I'd really bring up. But now when you do it, I'm going to bring it up.
Now I'm nervous to laugh.
Obviously, yeah. I'll try not to be funny, as I've said previously. But you had a good week so far? It's Wednesday, hump day.
Yes. Yeah,
Different recording day.
Payday was a couple of days ago, which is always good.
Yeah.
We're moving house. If you're interested.
Yeah, I knew that anyway, so
yeah, that's
of more interest to the people listening or of no interest whatsoever.
Buying off plan, so for anyone else that bought off plan, we get to see it tomorrow, so that's quite
expensive
exciting.
As well. I'm not going to go into financial details, but it's an expensive purchase if you ask me.
London is not a cheap place to live.
Indeed,
but yeah, very excited. How about you?
Yeah,
how was your week?
Good, all right, yeah, we went out last week, didn't we?
Yes.
On the TVV Podcast night out with Christopher Dolan, a friend of the channel. Did you have a good time?
Oh, lovely.
You sloped off quite early, to be honest.
I did. Yeah. Well, this was part of the moving week. So we've again more moving updates. We have moved out of our current flat and are now kind of in intermediate accommodation, which is annoying. So
a loan deal.
Yeah, we had to move all our stuff into storage, which was a pain. But it was great to hang out with Dolan. We had lovely steaks.
We did nice, good steak actually. I forgot what the place is called. I would give it a little plug.
Roxy's.
Roxy's in Putney.
Yeah.
Really good steak if you want to go there. But now I think we should talk about Aston Villa because I don't want to annoy people by talking about our personal lives. So, Tom, I'll give you free rein. I'll let you choose the first topic.
Oh wow! Thank you very much.
No worries.
Well, you've actually made some notes, which is always a nice change. So
I've made notes the last 6 weeks.
I don't notice.
I have.
Your quality hasn't improved.
I'll go off. No, I don't need it.
Shall we talk about the biggest news as you came into the podcast studio saying?
What was that?
The squad numbers. You're all excited.
Squad numbers, yeah. Very, very exciting day in the Aston Villa fan calendar. The squad numbers being announced. A few surprises in there for fellow squad number enthusiasts like me. You said that the squad numbers don't matter, but to me, I really look forward to the squad numbers. I've got a bit of a weird fascination with squad numbers.
I do have to say, and I know I'm going to get noise for this, I am 28 years old, so actually squad numbers don't mean as much to me as maybe they did when I was 10.
No, I get that.
Good for you, though, as a 30-year-old man.
31.
31.
Nearly 32.
Yeah. But you're excited. Tell us all about these changes.
I think that you could... This is sad. I think from about 94, 95 onwards, I think you could fire any squad number at me and I'll be able to tell you who wore it that season.
Yeah?
I genuinely think that.
All right, can I have 3 goes? I won't be able to confirm.
Well, that's the problem. Maybe prepare a test for me next week.
We'll
do a test, squad number test next week. That'll be a really exciting thing for people to listen to.
Tell me about your what you're excited about.
Well, Richie Delat's been given the number 2 shirt, vacated by Nathan Baker, so that says to me that there's a chance that he may be first choice right back when fit. Mika Richards has been dumped away from his number 4 shirt onto 17, so Chris Samba, the beast, takes that one.
Makes sense.
Chester's 5, which was to be expected. I think that's a number he's worn previously at Hull. Same Whelan 6, wore that at Stoke for a long time, and Elphic's been bombed down to 24. So I think you can safely say Elphick and Gardner are off because they've had their squad numbers taken away from them. Possibly even Richards, actually. So yeah, they could be on their way. Lansbury's taken 8. Grealish, I was quite excited to see get the number 10 shirt because Bruce said he was going to build the team around him, which I was really happy about in the number 10 role. And then, of course,
we'll get onto
he gets injured, which we'll talk about later. Yednax took his 15 shirt that he had at Palace, vacated by fallen hero Ashley Westwood. Codger 22 had that off Gardner. I think that's a number he's got a good affinity with. I think he wore it at Bristol City, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, we all knew Terry was 26 and Al Mohammedi's took 27, which he had at Hull. So interesting squad number news there.
I've got to say, your knowledge of squad numbers is a lot better than I thought ever possible.
I mean, it's a pretty useless thing to have knowledge on. It doesn't really ever come in handy in any facet of life.
You did tell me earlier that Aston Villa are struggling with the letter R, which might be a problem for you come shirt printing day.
Yeah, I'm still like a child. And I know I'm going to take a stick for this, and I agree that it's completely unacceptable. But I do like to get a name on the back of the shirt. I feel like your shirt's not complete unless you have a name and number on the back. So I'm going to do it. But I did plan to get Chester on the back. So the fact that they've taken the R numbers, not the R letter, is not at Villa Park cover, and he's going to pose me a problem because quite a lot of Villa's better players have R in the name. Yeah,
you might end up with what? Oh no, you can't have that.
I was looking at Jedinak at the moment. Hopefully the R situation's been resolved by the time I'm at Villa Park tomorrow.
Alan Hutton seems an obvious choice.
Not this season. He didn't score. I said if he'd scored last season, I would have got him on the back, but he didn't. He didn't score, so unlucky Alan.
When I was a kid and used to get shirts regularly, I'd always get my own name and number on the back.
I don't feel you can do that at 32. If it's unacceptable to get a player's name on the back, it's definitely unacceptable to get your own.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that at all.
I think I got Petrov on the back last season, 19, because I thought that he was going to make his big comeback.
Classic.
I just fancied getting it because to pay respect to him for managing to get himself back into the training and back in the fray. So I went with Petrov last season. A little story from when I was a child, which is probably up there with your terrible Dion Dublin story.
Which I still don't have an answer to.
It must have been 93 or 94. I got a goalie top. I went with my dad to the club shop to get Bosnich put on the back, but they'd run out of ends, so I couldn't have Bosnich, and then obviously I couldn't have Spink either. So obviously there was a big problem going on here. So I ended up with Michael Oakes on the back, and he'd never played a game. And my dad was like, "Are you sure you want to get Michael Oakes on the back? He's never ever played." And I went with Oakes.
I think it's your dad's responsibility at that point to go, "No, Dan, we can buy the top, but we'll come back and get the name sorted at a later date."
No, well, I don't know how it worked in those days. It's a bit easy to do those things now. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah. Maybe he didn't want to come back again.
Growing up in the Birmingham area, was that something that you would do kind of at the start of every season? Because for me, it was always kind of a Christmas time thing. My birthday's in May, so it's not really good for getting a new shirt. But Christmas...
No ideal timing.
Christmas, I'd often wake up and there'd be a new shirt under the tree, and that was a really exciting time for me. Was that the kind of moment for you at the start of the season?
My birthday's in September. I used to get it in September. My dad was a bit tight, actually. He wouldn't let me get it in August and get a whole season out of it. He made me wait till my birthday, because up until this year, actually, my mum and dad have still bought my shirt for me.
Really?
Every birthday, yeah, but they just transfer me the money and I go and get it at the start of the season now. So my dad's learnt. He likes me to get the whole year out of it now.
And what about this year? Are they still doing it, or have they cut you off?
I found an old Paul McGrath shirt that I wanted, and I asked them to transfer me the money to get that. So I ended up getting that instead.
Wow.
So
Dan Bardell, a 10-year-old and a 31-year-old's body.
I'm not going to come off well. I've not come off well in this chat, but at least I'm honest.
Yeah.
No shame. It takes a lot to embarrass me, to be honest.
I know that so much. You're putting money into the club, so that's a good thing. I guess the biggest news really this week is that football is officially, it's almost officially here. I guess that's not really news, but
I can't wait.
It's 3 or 4 days until we kick off against Hull. Saturday tea time. Excited?
Yeah, very much excited. Feels like it's been a long time since the football season started. I think it's bordering on pretty much 3 months, bang on, since we were at Villa Park. So that's pretty grim. You know, I like the structure in my life of going to the football. Saturday tea time, I'm not a massive fan of, but obviously I'm still going. Obviously, I'm still going to love it as long as we win, and I think we will win.
I feel like again, it feels a bit like when you get to the school holidays on Twitter this week, everyone's been a bit tetchy, as if they're all just waiting for football to start again. Everyone's just getting on top of each other. We just want football.
We need stuff to happen, don't we?
We need to start talking about real games.
Yeah, and obviously, I'll probably end up watching the Sunderland game on Fridays. It's Derby Sunderland. I'll probably watch that just to be so excited that football is actually back. I mean, I've watched all our pre-season friendlies, but I've not watched many of the others.
No, me neither. No.
I toyed with watching Liverpool-Bayern last night, and then didn't.
I heard it was a very good affair.
Yeah, breaking news that's just come through on my phone is that Neymar has agreed a 5-year deal with Paris Saint-Germain.
Is that breaking?
Well, yeah. Well, the contract bid agreed is.
Okay.
I think that's obscene money.
It's almost 4 times the amount that Tony Jaa paid for Aston Villa.
I mean, that's just... You said his dad is getting paid like £36 million in loyalty bonus, but Neymar wants to leave. How can you be getting a loyalty bonus when you want to leave?
I read that as a loyalty bonus, as if he had needed a loyalty bonus to his son, as if like Neymar Senior was sticking by Neymar Junior, which I thought was very gracious of him.
I mean, people say about like when we spent 15 million on Codry in the Championship that was crazy money, but people going for 200 million pretty much. That is, I never thought we'd see those days. I remember when Shearer going for 15 million and when it was a club like a record fee in England, I was like, thought that was loads of money. And now
David Beckham,
madness.
Things like that kind of
absolute madness.
That kind of transfer saga, which we kind of grew up with, and now it feels that's just paled into comparison, isn't it?
So much goes into transfers now. It almost takes the enjoyment away from it. I remember hearing that when Villa signed Carlos Sanchez, who, let's face it, didn't pull up many trees. Wasn't brilliant. But when Villa were trying to sign him and they were in contract negotiations, I heard that like all his family and friends were there involved as well in his ear saying, oh, we want this. It's not, when you sign a player nowadays, you're not just signing the player, you're like signing the whole family and having to do things for the whole family. It's going too far.
Yeah, and they've got foundations and stuff, which is obviously great.
Yeah.
But it's all part of it. It's basically moving a business, isn't it? Buying a new business and incorporating it into yours.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Neymar's dad was all right for money before the 36 million, so he's laughing now. Neymar's family's never going to have to work again, any of them.
Yeah, I think they're all quite comfortable at this point. We've got a bit of transfer news at Villa Park. Yeah, Ali Cissokho is a record breaker.
Yeah, he's gone, hasn't he?
Yeah. He leaves Villa to join Yeni Malatyaspor.
Good team.
Well,
good pronunciation.
Do you think?
Yeah. Well, I presume. To be honest, if you got it wrong, as long as you don't make it like a funny noise or do something dodgy when you're saying it, I'm going to think it's right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll take
Which you
it.
Did.
1.3 million, and that's the most that Yeni Malatyaspor has ever paid for a player.
So, Cissokho, trailblazer.
How do you feel about that?
I feel a bit sorry for Ali Cissokho, to be fair. He's not been treated the best at Villa. He's been carted off on loan a few times. I don't ever think he was that bad.
Yeah.
He was okay as a backup left back.
Yeah, but
he's not the best going forward, but defensively he was okay.
I think he lacked a little bit of tactical nous for the Premier League certainly, and a Championship which is very quick as well. I just don't think he was suited to that. He just wasn't quite quick enough in the mind playing. I don't think
he's one of those players that facially he always looked confused.
Yeah,
like even if you're smiling, he'd look confused, which isn't good on a football pitch. I suppose if you like manager shouting at you and you look confused, even if you understand it, that's probably not a great trait to have.
A bit like when Matt Lynch tries to take a touch and the ball is gone.
That guy. Dear me.
After our last podcast, Aaron Tishibola joined MK Dons on loan.
Yeah.
I watched a video of him.
Yeah, I saw that. We talk about the same video.
Well, do you want to tell us what we're talking about?
Well, no, carry on.
Well, he was just basically making all the right noises.
No, that wasn't the one I was talking.
I knew it wouldn't be. He was giving an interview kind of saying that he was going to MK Dons to where great academy players have prospered and gone on to good things. He said he needed to work hard, get himself back into the team. Obviously, he's still got 3 years, including this one, on his Villa deal. And I guess Robbie Nilsson's side can give him a bit of a platform to show maybe what he can do and get his head on straight.
I'd be shocked if we saw him play for Villa again. I think he's finished, especially while his manager, Bruce, just doesn't seem to have taken a shine to him at all. I wish him all the best. Obviously, he's never done anything majorly wrong for Villa. I mean, but we've spent nearly £5 million on the kid, and we've barely ever seen him.
Well, that's important as well, isn't it? Like, he's a young player, and if he does show something good in League One and maybe helps them achieve a kind of a playoff finish or something like that, then maybe he earns his chance again.
I can't see him getting back into the reckoning of Villa. You'd like to think this time next year we'll be talking about Villa in the Premier League.
Yep.
And is he good enough for the Premier League? I mean, I saw a video on the MK Dons Twitter of let's look at Tishibola's best bits, and it was literally just him making 5-yard passes.
Really?
That was all there was. All there was on there. They obviously couldn't find any footage.
Yeah, I mean, I guess nobody's disputing that he hasn't performed to his best so far. But like you say, £5 million, there must have been something there that we saw to make that chance.
He played for Steve Clarke at Reading, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then Steve Clarke became our assistant manager and obviously rated the guy highly, but obviously not many other people at the club have rated him that much. So he hasn't worked out. It's just one of them, isn't it? Obviously, like probably 50% of our transfer business last summer has ended up not working.
Yeah. One of the other transfer news, well, it's not so much news, but more comment from manager Steve Bruce. He said he wants a couple more loans in before the end of the season. He talked about the Chelsea youngsters, Tammy Abraham, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Izzy Brown, who have all gone to Premier League teams. And he said he wanted to emulate David Wagner at Huddersfield by using the loan system and really making a push for the Premier League. Obviously, that is all Villa fans' aim. But there doesn't really seem to be much room for another youngster. We've got our own youngsters. Do we really need another one?
I'm looking at that squad, and I still think that squad's pretty much set. Grealish being out is a blow. I mean, I saw something today that says he's out for 6 months. But from the horse's mouth, it's 3 months, as far as I know. So I don't really think we need anyone. I think you've got people missing on there as well. The young players, Lydon,
Callum O'Hare,
people who Hepburn Murphy, Keenan Davis, people that have been involved in the first team. To me, we don't need anything. I still don't think we need anything. And if we're going to get someone in on loan now, I can't think of any young players. Obviously, you've mentioned Abraham, the Loftus-Cheeks. They're the ones that would really, really improve you. I'm not sure there's anyone else knocking around that would really, really improve us. I'd rather see the youngsters that we've already got be given a role in the squad, because if not, get rid of them on loan, because there's not much point in them hanging around at Villa this season. They may as well go on loan and get some football under the belt.
Totally, yeah. I think that's really important. Steve Bruce obviously is a crafty mind when it comes to Championship promotion. He's done it 4 times at this point, and he knows what he's looking for. But hopefully, I mean, we've talked about it before, hopefully what he's looking for is under his nose already.
Well, I'm looking at this squad, and there's a few here that won't play any games. I'd wager here that there's McCormack, Gardner, Elphick, and I think that's probably it. Maybe Micah Richards, maybe because of fitness in the main. They won't play any football this season. We've got 3 goalkeepers there, so you'd be surprised if all 3 of them had any football at any point. If they all played, I'd be surprised if they all got a game this season. I think Steer's probably going to start as number 2 this season, which I agree with. But I still think that squad's set, supplemented with youngsters. I think we're good to go. Maybe a centre-back. A 4th centre-back would be the only place I'd say we're short, unless one of the youngsters is going to come through, but we've not really seen much of them in pre-season, and you'd have thought they might have been in and around the bench on Saturday, and they weren't. None of the youngsters were actually on the bench on Saturday. So Baker going was a surprise to me. That's something that disappointed me, to be honest.
Again, I saw on Twitter, I can't remember who made the point. It was a very good one, though. There comes a point where Baker gets a say in this as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he's wanting first team football, and at this point he can't see his way through, especially when you signed Samba as well. You know. Yeah,
but I wouldn't have had Samba in ahead of him. Obviously, Steve Bruce thinks differently, but bringing a 33-year-old on a 1-year contract at the expense of losing Baker, who's one of our better performers last season, who would be an excellent third-choice centre-back option to have, that's a surprise to me.
I don't disagree with that, but the money comes into it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think the fee's more than has been reported as well. I think with clauses and stuff and appearances and stuff, we're due to do about $5 billion.
Really?
For him. So I get that is a good price, and obviously if we're not selling him Harvey because his name's been tarnished, then we needed to get that money from somewhere. And it says a lot about some of the players in the squad who we want to get rid of, that we can't get rid of them. I know Matt's been very vocal about that on Twitter. If people are going to pay for Baker and not necessarily going to want to pay for Elphick, Micah Richards, then obviously we've got rid of Baker. But he's been a good servant. I wish him well. I've harboured no ill thoughts towards Nathan Baker at all. I wish him well. I've been slightly appeased from him going, but I don't know. Still, it doesn't sit great with me, to be honest. His injury record's a bit questionable. And if we want to get to the Prem, I think he's still a Premier. I think he could do a job as a 4th choice in the Premier League, personally.
Yeah, I don't.
I know
disagree.
not everyone agrees with that.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but I do think that at some point we need to get rid of some of these players, and I think there was an offer on the table there, and Steve Bruce went, "Well, we're equipped here. We're never going to get rid of Micah Richards for the money he's on, so we need to cut some of the players off the squad, and Baker's been one of those."
I take a bit of umbrage with financial fair play, because obviously we're having to work hard to balance the books to make sure we get through financial fair play. Paris Saint-Germain are spending $200 million on Neymar. What about their financial fair play?
Well, La Liga have said that they're going to try and block it, haven't they? Because they
won't get blocked.
They don't believe that financial fair play is being taken into account.
It can't be.
Yeah,
But when you're rich like they are, like mega rich, beyond rich, you can work things out in the books to make yourself play financially fair.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to get onto the politics podcast in a minute, but you're right. But that starts at the top with FIFA. You know, everyone has to kind of clear their books, and if you're going to do financial fair play, you need to do it rigorously and it be properly means tested and everything like that.
Well, if FIFA are looking after it, then that tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. One name that you did mention there, Dan, which I was. It was nice to see him back on the team sheet. He kept a couple of clean sheets with Jed Steer.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was the only guy that played in both games in the Cup of Traditions and kept a clean sheet as well against Watford. It doesn't look like he'll be starting against Hull. Looks like Sam Johnson will be back fit. But it was great to see him back after a really troubled period in his career.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember him having anything to do. He wasn't a busy boy. You'd have never known that Watford were the Premier League team and Villa were the Championship side. There wasn't much between us. It was a pretty cagey game. So I don't think I learnt much about Jed Steer in that game, but I'd like to see him as the sub-keeper. There's more future for him than Mark Budd. Jed Steer's done it in the Championship before with Huddersfield. It makes more sense for him to be involved.
Yeah, and it must be encouraging for the player as well. You know, at 24, when you're out for so long with such a niggly Achilles tendon injury, and you kind of feel like, am I going to get there as a player? I mean, I've never felt like that, but You're not
going to get there.
I'm definitely not. Spoiler alert. But there must be those moments where you're just like, I just wish. I know that I'm better than being on the injury table all the time.
He's one of those players that hasn't really caught a break.
Yeah.
Since he's been at Villa. There seems to be a few of them. I mean, as a goalkeeper, I don't think long-term injury will affect you as much as an outfield player. So someone like Akora at Villa, for example, who had a lot of injuries, his career just got ruined. Gary Gardner, we've not seen the best of him, and I think a lot of that is down to injuries as well. With a goalkeeper, you wouldn't expect an injury like the one he had to slow down his progression, because it's not going to affect him on a game basis. It's not going to be psychological for him. Do you get what I mean?
I was just about to say the opposite, actually.
Oh, really?
I feel like injuries for a goalkeeper can be even more psychological. You know, you're then scared to come out. You're scared to win the ball. You're scared to be that little bit more physical than maybe other keepers would be, and I think that's quite important a trait.
We'll go against each other.
Yeah,
we'll agree to disagree.
That's fine. We can do that.
Yeah.
There was one more sad bit of news, and you've already touched about it with Grealish being out for 3 months. Made even more sad by the fact that and Greg Evans talked about this in the Birmingham Mail as well, that Bruce was trying to build his team around the new number 10, Jack Grealish, playing this 4-4-1-1 system. Yeah. And now looks like Jack will be out for 3 months or however long it will be. That's such a blow to a young man.
Yeah, he's another one who I don't think catches a break. I mean, we've spoken depth about him before, so I won't repeat myself. But Villa has not been a great place to grow up. For him, you stick him in a team like Southampton, he'll have been thriving by now, for absolute sure. I'm sure, because he's that good a footballer to me. I think he's a very, very good player. And you could see the signs in the Watford game. He looked lively. He was drifting around the pitch, playing in his proper position. He looked happy. He looked set. He was linking up well with Green and Gabby. And then an innocuous injury has ruled him out for probably the first half of the season, which is a massive, massive blow, especially if we are going with that 4-1-1 system, because there isn't. Looking at his squad list, there isn't really anyone else who can play that role, especially anyone who can play as effectively as Grealish.
That was going to be my question to you. Who then fills that? How do we go? I
think we go back to 4-3-3, because I think he put Lansbury there in the second half against Watford, and he's bed deeper for me. He didn't look good in the number 10 role. It's almost like he's starting off too far forward. He needs to run a bit more from deep. There isn't anyone there. Callum O'Hare can obviously play there, but I wouldn't expect him to just rock up and replace Grealish like for like. And there's a case for McCormack in the squad that he could do a job there, but it looks like he's definitely off. So that's not going to happen. So I'd say we're either going to go 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 now. Yep,
no, it definitely looks that way. It's just, I just get frustrated with these players, especially in the last pre-season before the season starts. And again, it was against Tom Cleverley, wasn't it? The guy that he fell on as well.
Of course.
So that's another unfortunate blow. So we wish Jack Grealish all the best, and hopefully we'll see him back on the pitch sooner rather than later.
He gets far too much criticism, Grealish. Far too much criticism.
I don't disagree with you, and I feel like I've said that quite a lot.
And I feel like, okay, now Grealish is injured. Green has got a good relationship with the fans at the moment, but as soon as he has a couple of off games, there's a certain element of the fan base that will turn on him as well. If you're not beating 10 players and knocking the ball in the top corner, you get stick. So Andre Green will have tough moments this season for sure, and it would do well not to get on his back, to be honest. I think that's part of the problem with Grealish. His confidence has been knocked because there's a certain element in the Villa fans that are against him, and I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's all well and good criticising people. I've sat here and criticised Alan Hutton. I've slammed him for a year, but when I'm watching him and he's playing in the game, I get behind him because I want him to do well because he's wearing a Villa shirt. And we need to be behind the players from the off this season. So, for example, we go a goal down against Hull, there'll be an element in the Villa fans that will start booing, say, "Oh, same old Villa." And
Here we go again.
You don't need that. Mm-hmm. You don't need that at all. We need to get behind him this year. The fans can play a massive part in getting this club up. Massive part.
Definitely. One thing I wanted to say about Grealish, and I tweeted it a couple of days ago, this is a massive moment for him as well, isn't it? As a player who is going to be out for quite a while, not going to be able to train, not going to be able to obviously play, he's going to have to really be mature in his own, in the way that he treats himself and the way the club treats him as well. You know, that has to be a really strong relationship so that he comes back stronger and better than ever.
I think he has grown up. Mm-hmm. I think he has grown up. That's 2 holidays now in a row where he's not been lying on the floor.
Oh, it's always good.
It's progress.
Yeah.
Progress for him. So he's a nice lad. And he's a good footballer. Mm-hmm. And he loves Aston Villa. So I don't get what there is not to like. Well, okay, could he do more? Yeah, okay. Perhaps he could have done a bit more, but in a bit part role, he's still got 5 goals and 5 assists last season as our second top goal scorer. Yeah. So come on.
That says more about our goal scoring ability than it does about Jack.
That was a worry with the Watford game. Without Codger there, I mean, we don't look like we're going to score.
Yeah.
We don't ever look like we're going to concede. John Terry and Chester will be formidable. Mm-hmm. But you do worry where the goals are going to come from. And it's not that we haven't got the players to score goals. It is perhaps the tactics. But first 15-20 with Jack, we looked good. We looked like we were playing nice football. I was impressed. Whelan looked a good addition because he can do a bit of everything. Yep. He can tackle, he can pass, he's got a bit of bite. He's a leader, he organises people. So he's like maybe even an upgrade on Jedinak, who was very good for us last season. Whelan looked good. He was the one I came away from that game. He was the one that really impressed me.
Well, the pre-season is over. Real football starts the weekend. If you wanted to check out the Villaview blog, which is starting to crank again, isn't it?
I was surprised to see that today.
There's an excellent article there. I forget who it's by.
Is it good? I've not read it.
Oh, I knew you wouldn't have.
I forgot. I meant to actually read it. Yeah. I was going to critique it.
Do you know what?
I completely forgot.
I watch all your videos, very supportive, and you don't even bother to read the 400 words I put together.
If you want to, for want of a better word, work for the Villaview doing the podcast, you should be watching the videos.
You should be reading the material.
Yeah, that's fair. I've contradicted myself. That's poor.
Yeah, so pre-season grades are up. There's a little bit of analysis there. If you care to read that, that's great.
Give me a tidbit from it. Give me just a highlight from that read.
I gave Scott Hogan a C+. I felt like he showed glimpses of what he can do for this team, but he wasn't in the right.
Gabber?
I didn't give all the players.
Oh.
I didn't. So I picked kind of 3 of the best, 3 that could maybe do better, and then a few honourable mentions as well.
Interesting. You've missed out a key cog there. And Gabby had a decent pre-season.
Well, you feel free to comment.
I will. Maybe I'll read it and give it a review next week.
Oh, I look forward to that.
Hopefully we'll get some more blogs on our website. No disrespect to our writers, but I don't see much writing.
Oh yeah, well, I think now the season.
If you're asking someone to do something for free, then fair enough. Actually.
I think the season's about to start as well.
There's a couple that like an article.
Yeah, I've got a couple more in my locker, which are coming up this week. So so look out for those. Yeah, we're going to do a kind of championship favourites preview.
Nice.
And then last year as well, we always did a kind of scouting report to go along with your preview videos. So they'll start again.
I forgot about that. Yeah, you were doing that, weren't you?
Thanks, mate. Thanks for taking an interest. Right. So keep an eye on the website as well as the YouTube channel. It's all good stuff. Speaking of the YouTube channel, there's going to be a couple more videos. Since we were last here, actually, you've done the catch up with Greg Evans, which was great. I really enjoy hearing what he's got to say. I like
Greg.
I find his opinion very, very valuable.
Another one that gets a bit of abuse that shouldn't.
I think that's
maybe everyone gets abused nowadays. Maybe that's just a thing.
I think it's a property of Twitter.
Have you had any abuse yet?
Not yet, but I'm not as big as you.
Except from me.
Yeah, mainly from you. One thing Greg Evans said was that he thought that Samba was could be a better signing than Terry. I thought that was very interesting and maybe a little bit hyperbolic, but you can kind of see where he's coming from. I assume he's on a lot less money. He'll be used less, but as a kind of a backup man ready to slot straight in there, he's earned his contract.
I take back what I said about Greg. Let's give him some abuse. Let's give him some outright abuse. I get what he's trying to say. I don't think he'll be more important than Terra.
No.
Terry is a monster. There's such an aura about him. I was watching him Saturday.
Yeah.
Just a magnificent beast.
I think, like I say, I think it's a bit hyperbolic. I think it's a bit...
I did a weird thrust then, as I said John Terry was a magnificent beast, which was slightly strange. I don't know why I did that.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
thanks for telling.
For audio listeners, so they know.
Yeah. I've lost my train of thought thinking about you thrusting.
Sorry.
Yes, Chris Samba, a little bit hyperbolic, but could be a very good sign. I don't know what kind of money Samba's on. It can't be that much.
At one point, he was on quite a lot of money at QPR in the Russian side, who I'm not even going to try and pronounce.
Yes.
You know the one I mean, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it, though.
Are you with him? No, I can't remember. Forget that. He's on a lot of money anyway in Russia and QPR.
But I think it took him... He obviously was training with Villa for a long time. No other clubs kind of came in for him, so I think we would have probably got him on quite a decent deal.
Yeah. He's been on trial for about 7 months.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one else has snapped him up, to be honest, in that time. He obviously really wanted to play for Villa.
So if you haven't seen the Greg Evans video that Matt did last week, go and check it out. And what else is coming up?
We want to try and do more stuff like that. We've had Matt Kendrick on discussion shows, and we do want to try and get the discussion shows going again and stuff like that, get other fans involved, because it's a bit too Bardell and Lynch centric.
I would agree.
For me, at the moment, we need to get some other people involved as well. So we'd like to do. If people let us know in the comments whether you like the chat with Greg Evans, and we'll try and get it as a regular thing. I can think of a few people we could perhaps tap up and speak to from a journalistic point of view. So that'd be good. We're at Villa Park tomorrow. We've got Thursday for those listening. We've got I'm not going to go into too much of this because I always worry that these things will fall through. I'll sit here and say something's going to happen and then it won't happen. But I think we've got something tomorrow that is probably the first time it's ever been done by a fan channel, I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd be shocked if another fan channel had done what we're going to do tomorrow.
A fan channel world exclusive, is that what we're saying?
I think so, yeah. We'll do some other videos as well, just me and Matt talking. So we'll get our first game of the season preview rattled off. Tomorrow we'll do our predictions, obviously make ourselves look stupid. In 12 months' time, I've come up with some quite gnarly shouts, actually.
Yeah?
I've given my hand in mine into Roller.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to give us any tidbits? Or
I can tell you who I've put down to win the championship.
Go on then.
Fulham.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, Fulham. And I've gone for quite a Larry top scorer. I'm not going to say that, but I've gone for quite a Larry top scorer as well.
What a lovely little tease. If you were thinking, I'm not going to bother watching those videos, they don't contain Tom, now you definitely are, aren't you?
I mean, if anything, it's more of a reason to watch it if it doesn't contain you.
Absolutely. Right, I'm out of news. I'm just excited for the games to start now.
Yeah, but I think that's all. We've covered news quite in depth there. We've got a few other things on the list.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, me and Matt played in a charity game on Sunday. Lee Hendry was heavily involved in, ex-Villa player Lee Hendry, obviously. He's bloody good. Yeah? Too good at football still.
Really?
Should probably still be playing the Premier League, to be honest. Yeah, he made me look silly on a couple of occasions, which isn't hard to do on a football pitch.
Is he that good? Or...
Honestly, he was a different level to anyone else on the pitch, even the other ex-pros that he was playing with.
Right.
He was a different level to even them. So that video will be out soon. I think that's waiting on me to do something, actually, so I better get that done.
So what was the premise of the game, sorry?
Someone called Kirsty, Miss AVFC, on Twitter, works for the QE, so the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and it was a charity match to raise money for the QE. She's got quite an interesting story, actually, that she used to play football herself, and she had a lot of heart problems, so she had to stop playing football, got looked after at the QE, and then she's trained herself up so that she now works with the people that helped remedy her. So she arranged a charity football match, and she asked me and Matt if we wanted to play, and unfortunately I ended up having to go in goal for 90 minutes against ex-pros, which was quite hectic. I mean, I was quite busy.
You made a case for yourself, didn't you? The five-a-side.
Five-a-side's a different ball game. 11-a-side. I mean, maybe one goal I'm disappointed with. There's maybe a couple of bits of questionable positioning, but it's so hard. 11-a-side's so hard compared to five-a-side in goal. And I made a couple of good saves, but obviously I've let in 8.
We'll wait and see the video.
Which is a problem.
I think Villa View fans can be the judge of that, and we'll wait and see how.
Matt came on as a sub. He wasn't trusted to play the 90.
Wow.
I think he came on with about 20 minutes left and was offside about 1,000 times. So he made a good impact, as he always does.
With those videos, always like the behind the scenes, because you see the dafter moments of that. So we'll look forward to those.
Yeah.
It would be remiss of me not to mention a debut on Saturday. Your debut on AVFC official. You were presenting the Facebook Live with Ian Taylor.
Yeah.
Very, very well done. That was great.
Thank you. I mean, for someone who's obviously was never in with a chance of playing football professionally at Aston Villa, probably the next best thing for me is to go on and talk about my club for my club. So that was a great experience for me, and hopefully I'll be doing that a bit more this season.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think it went well. Obviously, I've met Tails before. Lovely bloke, very, very funny bloke. I was really nervous.
Yeah.
Really, really nervous. Like, I don't get nervous doing this. I don't get nervous doing any of our videos, but I had a few sleepless nights leading up to the Facebook Live. Because of the live element. It's the live element. Anything could go wrong.
What were you like waking up dreaming kind of that you'd just ball something up or something like that? Or
I just was worried about, for example, so used to saying welcome to the Villa View. I was worried about doing that.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I was worried about doing. It was just... But Ian Taylor put me at ease straight away. As soon as I saw him again, he's so funny.
Yeah.
So funny. He's an easy person to do on camera with.
Yeah.
So he made me look better than I am as well.
And
good.
it was nice to see you in a shirt for once. Nice.
Yeah, I had to dress up smart. They told me to.
Nice to have you dress up. You know.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I try week on week, but no deal.
A good debut, a solid debut for AVFC official, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. Solid.
Very nice self-critique.
Thank you.
There. Should we go?
You said it was good.
I did. Yeah, I would have given you a 5 out of 10.
No way. It's more than that. It was more than a 5 out of 10. When you take into account the live element.
Listen, knowing you as a colleague and as a friend, it was amazing to see what you're doing. I know some people think that we talk too much about ourselves or the opposite. Hang on, about the opportunities that the Villa View boys get, but you've crafted it yourself, and I think it was amazing to see somebody do something that they love, like you say, the club you love, getting that opportunity. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, I like to talk about it because I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
So, and it's thanks to the people that watch this stuff that I wouldn't be up there doing it otherwise. So, thank you to everyone who's ever supported the channel, because without them, I wouldn't be up there for AVFC official with my favourite ever Villa player. It was ridiculous. It seems ridiculous to me still. Hasn't sunk in quite properly.
Should we do some comments?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You do them.
All right, okay. So we're Bodie Smith. Villa are buying a lot of 30-plus players. If we don't get promoted in the next 2 years, who will they be left with? If we don't get promoted next year,
middle 30s players.
Yeah, we could be in trouble for financial fair play, as well as having a bunch of older players. I think in a club you have to have a blend of experience and youth. I put this in my article earlier today that we've got a load of young players, so I'm actually not too disappointed that we haven't gone out and bought a load of 20, 21-year-olds, because we've got those players kind of coming through. I want us to nurture them, and if the experienced players are going to help get us up and help lead those players, then I'm not too bothered about that transfer policy.
I think maybe we needed some more streetwise players. Jedinak, very streetwise. I'd have expected a bit more streetwiseness from Lansbury and Horahan last season as well, because they know the Championship well. But Whelan's probably another level to them, just in knowing what to do, knowing when to make the right pass, when to see the game out, things like that. So I think we needed a few more streetwise options. So Whelan especially looked very good. He was our best player on Saturday. So I'm happy with it as long as it gets us to the Premier League. I don't think we have to worry about anything, because if we're in the Premier League, they'll be with us for at most a year, those players.
Yep.
So it's nothing to worry about. But yeah, I get the point, though. If we don't go up, we're left with 30-year-old players, but their contracts will be up by then anyway. So it's pretty low risk. We've not spent a lot of money this summer. We're in profit, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, we are. Yeah, we kind of had to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, there wasn't a huge amount of choice. Amo Fouts. I hope I've pronounced that right. Mm-hmm. Love hearing you guys. Helps me feel connected to Villa from Sydney. So that's great. Thank you for listening and watching.
Good day. I can't do an Australian
that was
accent,
so bad.
I tried to do it without an accent, and it's something weird just came out of my mouth instead.
That was
I
very
just wanted to
funny.
say good day. I should have just done it like that. It was better.
I hope we take that as a little sound drop.
Good day.
Do you think we'll be playing 3-5-2? And
Nope.
if we do, who would you guys like to see starting this formation? You're going to talk a little bit more about this on the preview show, right?
Well, we've only got 3 centre backs now, so we're struggling to play 3-5-2 because we've only got 3.
Well, some people have talked about
centre-back.
Taylor playing at centre back.
I still think that he's never done that.
Okay.
I might be wrong. I get things wrong quite frequently.
You do.
That's my wife, but I'm sure it was Ben Davies that plays centre back for Wales and Taylor plays left wing back.
Russell Sturgis raises an interesting question. Do we have a likeable Villa squad now? Recently, we've had a fair few unlikable players.
I like most of the people on there, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't really. I'm not one for getting into the personalities of players too much. I think there's a few exceptions to that rule, but by and large, they've never done anything to me. A lot of them. So, yeah, I mean, some people take umbrage with. I just used umbrage.
Is the word of the week.
They have an issue with John Terry. We've talked about stuff like that before. I can't really think of.
I mean, you don't want to be too nice.
Yeah.
You want someone to have a bit about them, like Lansbury, for example. When we played Forest, when Lansbury was there, he did my head in all game.
Yeah.
Sportsmanship. He was diving in. He was making bad challenges. He was at the ref, wasting time. He was doing a lot, and he was really getting on my nerves. And then obviously we were booing him, and he pops up in the last minute and scores as the last laugh. So it's good to have a few people like that who wind the opposition up. I'm hoping to see more from Lansbury.
Yeah.
So I think we've got our fair share of people who would wind up the opposition. Lansbury, Terry, as you said. Gabby likes to wind up the Blues fans in particular. So there's enough nastiness there for me. It's the right. Whelan's another one who can be a bit nasty. There's enough there now. It's a good mix. I'm happy with it.
Mr. MT had a couple of comments on your ode to Grealish, as we'll call it. He said...
when was that? I don't remember doing that.
Last week.
Today.
Last week. You wrote the article for Birmingham Mail, and we also talked about on the podcast about how Gabby...
Gabby, you mean? You said Grealish.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, dear me.
You confusing me.
Very unprofessional. This has to be the last season at the club for Gabby. Unfortunately, though, people have short memories. He has been awful for over 5 seasons. He's shown he can't cut it at the top. This should be his swan song season.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
His swan song season, yeah. I'd be shocked if he was here next season. Must be long odds on him being here next season.
I think then the next comment straight away, Jack Jennings, Gabby has looked inspired in pre-season, and I reckon he could roll back the years and get 10 plus goals this season.
Yeah, let him do it this season.
Yep.
But I don't think he'll get a contract next season. He'd have to do something. He'd have to score a goal a game to get a new contract next season.
A goal a game.
A goal a game.
Wow. Greg Jones reckons that I'm winding you up on purpose. Last week my phone went off.
I just heard it vibrate again 2 minutes ago.
It vibrated. It didn't.
Was it your wife reminding you not to laugh
on
the podcast?
No, I think it was work actually. So we'll have to wrap this up fairly soon.
It's podcast time now, Tom, not work time.
Yeah, that's true. I'm dedicated to the podcast, Dan. You know me. He thinks that I'm the Norman Wisdom of podcasts.
Is that a podcast? Is that a compliment?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. And you're the Saunders of the outfit. Feel free to crack down on these amateurs and show them the red card.
I mean, to be compared to Ron Saunders, that is pretty much as good as it gets, isn't it?
Yeah,
isn't it really? So I'd rather be compared to Ron Saunders than Norman Wisdom. It's not really a football reference either, is it?
No, I don't know.
Are you just saying you're a clown?
Would you agree?
But not in like a lovable way. So I'd describe myself as more of the clown. More of a lovable rogue, though. I think he's just saying you're a clown.
What would you describe me as? If you're the lovable rogue clown, knowledgeable, good-looking, fashionable.
Good-looking, Tom. You. What would I describe you as? Sturdy, like a reliable pair of pants with socks. That's
Thanks very much. Oh goodness, Luke Williams. Oh no, my question for next week is: do you watch Love Island, and what's your opinion of it?
Nope.
Nope.
Matt watched it though.
Yeah. No time for that.
No.
I have a question for Dan, as I know who will always lean onto the side of logic and not emotion with such things.
That's right.
I'm going to try and not take offence to that in an emotional way. Ashley Hall says that one. If Bruce got us up to the Premier League, do you think Tony Jaa will keep him for the next season? After he's already seen he lacks the attacking prowess in tactics, unlike younger, more modern managers of this football era. If you think he'll keep him, why?
I think he'd start with him because I think it would be
ludicrous,
pretty much unheard of to get promoted with someone and then get rid of him because he's done his job. He'd get to start the season, but I think at the first sign of trouble he'd be gone. I think that now this season, the first sign of us not going anywhere near promotion, he'll be gone. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's totally. I think you could. There's no way you could get rid of somebody if they get you promoted.
Tony's a man with a plan, Dr. Tony, and he will stop at nothing to get there. I don't think. It might take him longer than he originally forecasted, but he wants to get Villa one of the top teams in the country again, and I don't think he'll rest until he does that. So if he has to upset people on the way, I think he's prepared to do that.
Max Stokes, Samba, a better signing than Terry? I don't think so, Greg.
Yeah, get out of here, Greg.
Talk Norwich City as well. I saw the guy that runs Talk Norwich City got a nice new job today.
Did he? What's he doing?
He joined ITV, I think.
He already works for them. Or was it for BBC? He worked for someone before as well, bit
Not
of freelance work.
But he
Jack.
That doesn't really matter. But he said great chat, lad. So he enjoyed the Greg Evans chat there.
Yeah, him and Matt are friends though. He's just saying that because he's friends with Matt.
Oh, really?
If I'd have been doing that with Greg, he wouldn't have commented.
Oh, never mind, mate. Rob Henry, need a bit of luck on injuries. Well, we haven't got that.
No,
but as long as
Rob Henry's cursed us.
Yeah, but as long as key players keep fit, it could be an exciting season. I still think it's going to be an exciting season.
I think it'll be more exciting than last.
Yeah, it's a shame that we're not starting with the kind of players that we want to start with, the Codgers, the Jedinaks, the Grealishes. You know, we're missing a couple of key cogs there, aren't we?
But it's a good marker to see what the squad's capable of. There's good depth there still. If we put out the team I imagine we'll put out on Saturday, then that's still a good team. So that's with players missing. Arguably, two of your best players from last year, Jedinak and Codger, and then the man you're apparently building your side around Grealish. Adoma's out as well, another player who was on the side of decent last season. That's 4 important players. So, yeah.
A few people saying, I think these are comments for Nathan Baker. He was a rock and a warrior. It's a stupid decision. We're really going to miss him, says John Perry, if players get injured, he's saying there. Dominic McCabe, it's just one of those pieces of news I read and will never get over. I question Bruce's logic. He has done wonders at the back, but I completely agree with Dan. Asamba is great, but to sacrifice Baker for him is a very questionable decision.
You got to remember, it might not be Bruce's full decision. There's a committee at Villa, so it's not just Bruce. These decisions have been made by Steve Round, has a very big say at Villa. And
again, the books need to be balanced. At some point, you've got to answer to the bank manager.
Yeah.
Unless you're PSG, and then you never need to.
Or Neymar's dad. He's probably the bank manager's best friend, or the money he's raking in.
Definitely. Right. I think we can call it a day there.
Yeah, we're done.
Happy?
Think so, yeah. Good. Excited. Looking forward to got a few good things obviously coming. So stay with us because we have got some decent videos coming up and hopefully a fan channel first, all being well. And there was some questions sent in for Matt and I to do tomorrow at Villa when we're at Villa Park. So we'll rattle them off as well. Yeah, just if you could leave a review, please. The reviews have slowed down.
You look so desperate.
Because they've slowed down. We couldn't find ourselves in the top charts there, could we? We were about 84th before, and I couldn't find us before. I wanted to see where we were. Yeah,
I mean, in all seriousness, it really helps the show. We talk about it a lot, so let's not go on about it too much. But if you do have time, leave a review.
To be fair, we're chuffed with the amount of people that are listening.
Yeah.
To be honest, we've got really good numbers on this podcast, so if all those people left a review, we'd probably be number one.
And it looks like I might make it to the start of the season.
Me, Rollo and Matt will talk about it tomorrow. We'll have a Tom Julian meeting.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, until then, maybe I'll never see you again. But
yeah, you've been okay.
Thanks.
You're good 11 episodes from you. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
You've been okay. Should we go?
Let's go.
Thank you, as ever, for watching, listening, and interacting with us. We all really appreciate it. We all really enjoy hearing from you. There's a competition upcoming soon as well, which has just reminded me actually that I still haven't got those socks.
I was going to say about that.
Sent out.
You need to sort that out.
I will get that sorted. You can rely on me.
Right, up the Villa.
Yeah, see you later.
Cheers.
All the best. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.